Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or just an overall welcome if you've never been here before. I'm Malin and today I want to talk about how you can create a little windowsill garden growing microgreens just in your own home. I recently moved to an apartment and I used to have a garden where I did quite a bit of gardening and growing up my own vegetables. It's something I really miss, and that's what drew me to start growing inside in my windowsill. And since I love food, I also really like the idea of microgreens. They're a really beautiful addition to your food, but they're not just beautiful, they're really nutritious as well, and they're pretty low maintenance to grow, or they're really low maintenance to grow actually, and I'm gonna explain why in a bit. But yeah, a lot of people confuse microgreens with sprouts, and they're actually very different from each other, even though they're both sort of a young plant. So sprouts are grown without a growing medium, which means they're grown without any soil or anything else that it feeds off of, which means that you end up eating the whole plant with the root as well. But microgreens are grown in soil or on some other kind of growing medium, and you just harvest them when they're a really immature plant. So you don't eat the root, you cut them off and you eat that little baby plant. Microgreens take about 1 to 3 weeks to grow from that little seed to the plant that you eat, and you can actually grow a large variety of different plants this way. Most of them are some sort of leafy green. You can also grow peas, and actually even some root vegetables are suitable, and edible flowers as well. And some examples are broccoli, beets, mustard, cress, peas, and the list goes on. And they come in a variety of different shapes, these seeds, and I've heard that bigger seeds are easier to grow than small ones, but actually I find them pretty easy to grow in general. So I don't think you need to worry so much when you choose which kind of microgreen you want to grow. Just pick one and go for it. You can even combine some seeds, so if the plants have a similar growing time, and this is usually specified on the packet of seeds that you buy, or you can look up online which seeds are compatible with each other, then you can grow them, mix them and grow them so that you have a nice mix. But of course you can also grow them separately, harvest them and then mix them in any which way you like. And some microgreens actually regrow as well after you cut them. Peas are really great for this, and you can even use the peas that you buy in the supermarket that you would normally cook to make a soup or stew or whatever. So you really don't need to go to any specialty store to buy pea seeds, if you will, to grow microgreens. And now that I've spoken a little bit about microgreens in general, and I feel like we've got a hang of things a little bit, I want to show you how I grow them here in my home. There are some things you're going to need to grow microgreens at home, and the first thing I would say is a place to put your trays or containers with some light. So a windowsill is perfect for this, and then you're going to need those trays and containers to grow the microgreens in. And some people say they need to have draining holes, but I have grown them without draining holes and it works perfectly. So it's really up to you. You don't need to really buy anything special, you just need a tray that has a little bit of an edge. Or you could use plastic punnets that you've received when you've bought vegetables or fruits from the supermarket. So this is a really great way to repurpose those and use them for something good. Then you're gonna need a growing medium, like I've been saying, and the one I use is soil. You just need a regular potting soil and you don't need that much of it. Then you need seeds, of course, and I buy seeds that are meant for microgreens, but this is really only because I am still learning about gardening and I didn't know that actually you can buy seeds that are meant for grown plants also to grow microgreens. It's just that you're harvesting them earlier. But yeah, it can become a little bit expensive if you buy seed packets that don't have that many seeds, because when you grow microgreens you use a lot of them, so that's something to keep in mind. Maybe you can buy them in bulk, for example. And once you have your seeds and your soil and your trays, you need a spray bottle. This is the easiest way to keep your soil and your seeds moist. And for the beginning of the germination process, which means it's when the seed starts to open up and grow the plant, it's good to cover the tray with a plastic wrap or a plastic bag. You can definitely reuse just a regular old plastic bag. I have used some elasticated plastic covers that we bought, which Rob uses for his sourdough to keep that moist. So we had them at home and they work really well for this. They're reusable and you can wash them and yeah, use them many times, so that's good. And finally, you just need a little bit of patience to wait for them to grow and keep watering them. And now that we know what we need to grow microgreens, let's talk about exactly how to do it. To grow your microgreens, you start by finding that tray or some sort of receptacle to grow it in. And then you place about 1 inch to 2 inches of potting soil at the bottom of that. And you're going to want to press it down gently just to make a more smooth surface, but make sure you don't compact it too much. Once the soil is flattened out a little bit, it's time to bring some moisture to it, because seeds like moisture and we need to make a nice home for the seeds here. So I just use a spray bottle to mist the soil with water. You want it to be moist but not wet, because if you make the soil and the seeds too wet, there could be some mold growth, and that's something we obviously want to avoid. Then on top of that, you're gonna sprinkle your seeds, and this I just do by freehand. I spread them quite close to each other, so just make sure they're evened out across the surface. And then top it with some more soil. And this just needs to be enough soil to cover the seeds, so not much at all. And then we're gonna just push that soil down a little bit again, so to firm the seeds to the soil. This gives them a good starting point, and then it's time to water that soil as well, and the seeds of course. So I use my spray bottle again to disperse the water evenly, and remember to just keep it moist and not too wet. Then we're ready to cover this. So I place my elasticated plastic over the top, but you could use a plastic bag like I said earlier. And then I just place these trays in the window, and it's time to just wait for them to grow. And you're going to want to water them and keep the seeds moist. And this is something I do every morning and every night usually, but you can just check on them. Maybe they don't need to be watered twice a day, maybe once a day is enough. It depends on your environment. And once the seed has started to grow and pop out of the soil so that you can see it, maybe by about 1 centimeter, you can remove the plastic and let the plant breathe now. Again, this is a point where you could promote mold growth if you keep the plastic on. So once it started growing, you just take that off and they're gonna grow without the plastic. But you still need to keep an eye out to keep them moist. And now that you've taken the plastic off, it's actually easier for the soil to dry out. So just be a little bit vigilant here. Different seeds take a different amount of time to grow. So usually it says on the packet of the seeds how long it's going to take before your microgreen is ready to harvest. But you can really just keep an eye on your microgreens as well. And once they've reached about 1 inch or 2 inches, they're ready to harvest and to eat. They're great on top of salads, sandwiches, and pretty much any other dish. Really beautiful on Buddha bowls to spice things up a little bit. And of course, different microgreens have different flavors, just like the grown plant has. And usually the flavor corresponds with how the grown plant would taste, but it's maybe a more subtle flavor in many cases. And if you find yourself with too many grown microgreens and you want to store them away from the tray and not let them grow more, then you can cut them and place them on top of some moistened paper towels or even a cut-off cloth into a container with an airtight lid, and you can keep it in the fridge usually for about a week. I really enjoyed having my own indoor garden, and I'm hoping this will inspire you to create one for yourself. If you want to see how I've used my microgreens, I've linked some videos in the description box where you can see how I use them. If you like this video and you want to see more of this type of video, please let me know in the comments below. I could definitely make one showing how to make sprouts as well. So if it's something you're interested in, please let me know. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.